guys, so welcome back again. Damon Hart, Foxy Homebuyer here, and I'm here with Saurabh. And Saurabh, I just wanted to I wanted to kind of get more into just your business too, right? Because you kind of downplay it a bit. You've accomplished something special with your business, right? You're only in practice over a little over 7 years, 8 years. You guys are doing very well in terms of serving the community. You're one of the best providers in your network. Like, you guys are doing something that very few businesses do and establish a really great, successful way. Now, as a product of that, you got some things. Ladies, he's already taking for, right? But like, you have some assets now that you want to put places. You have some cash you need to put places. I guess, tell us a little bit about, now that you're into real estate investing, now working with us, now what are some of the investments that you're looking at to kind of take more advantage of, as opposed to just a traditional, just let me get a specific return?
Yeah. Having, a war chest, a largesse that's a product of something that I built, that's fantastic. It's a great feeling.
For sure.
But then you want to see that money grow. And you want to see it grow in a way that isn't by virtue of your labor or by the virtue of other people's labor that you hire, but you just want something that'll grow on its own. Money that begets money. And I was really enamored and enchanted with that idea. But what I came to learn about in real estate investing is not only can you enjoy that, but living in America and living in California, that means you got the federal government that wants a piece of that, and so does the state government.
Amen.
And between federal and state, at my income bracket, it's like I'm practically working for the state, And so clearly the implications for tax liability and the mitigation of the same made real estate really, really very attractive. I could hardly believe when I got to learn about depreciation and how that works, and then how to, in some circumstances, accelerate depreciation on an investment through cost segregation studies, right?
Right, yeah, of course.
These are wild rules. I'm still becoming acquainted with them, and they just seem like, okay, I get who wrote these, and I get who they were written for.
Right.
So I'm going to be one of those people for whom they were written.
For sure.
Right. And I think that's been an incredible draw for me into real estate.
That's awesome. And, it's funny. We're just going to blame Trump, right? We're going to blame Trump for that, writing the rules. Because,
just that? Okay.
Yeah, just that. You talk about the folks that understand the tax law. And that's one of the most empowering things that I experienced being in real estate investing, and now helping people to earn returns, but also show them how to use the benefit of real estate to get that tax advantage. It's amazing, because you can take someone that has worked so hard to build the income that they all, and that's all we preach, right? For the most part, it's like, go out and get a job and get to the top, and income.
Yeah.
But very few people ever talk about, okay, now that we have all this money coming in, how in the heck do we make sure that we don't pay an exorbitant amount? Because I tell you one thing, Bezos is doing it, right? Musk is doing it, even Trump. We'll even go to, and everybody else that understands the tax laws. We all know, we've all heard the adage, the wealthy, they're all buying real estate. And there's got to be a reason why. And that's what I love sharing the most with people. So it sounds like you've experienced that just even in a short while in investing. And that seems like that's the next progress for you, right? Like, those are the assets that you're starting to look at, right? Those projects.
Absolutely. And me, I ask a lot of questions. So my question was, wait a minute. So this depreciation you're taking, this big discount on your taxes, you don't have to pay that back. And as a matter of fact, you do. There's a thing called depreciation recapture. However, through asking more questions, I came to learn, wait a minute, that's okay, because when your tax basically debt is deferred through recapture somewhere down the road, that puts more money in your pocket now to invest in more real estate, right? And so having it today, having it now, beats the hell out of, like having to pay it back later.
Losing it now.
Because you can grow it into so much more today.
Absolutely.
And so that's the brilliance of this.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, you're
And also, you know, if you die with it, then it just gets that gets handed over to your children, right?
Yeah.
And the value at which it is when you die, that's a step up in cost basis,
Right.
That your children just get to enjoy. Now the recapture is still there, looming, but now, you know, the capital gains is been negated,
right.
and so they don't have to pay tax on that.
So
you can really leave a legacy.
We're gonna for anybody that's a CPA out there, right? Saurabh is not switching professions because he's actually better than most. I think he's probably the most clinically trained and real estate trained psychologist in all Southern California. We're gonna make that bold claim
I don't know
right
if
now.
that's true.
We're gonna make that bold claim a little bit just because, dude, you know more. You know, in the short term of kind of knowing you and knowing the person that you are, you know more than most people do in real estate about real estate. You do, and I'll tell you that's a great thing to have accomplished in such a short amount of time. But you know, for those folks that are out there that are searching, I think the thing that's most impressive about what you've done is you've overcome that hurdle of, hey, I know this is something I want to do. I know that I can do it. I have a pretty good idea that I can do it, but I just don't want to take the leap. And they kind of sit on the sidelines. And it sounds like you were able to figure that part out and get over that hump. And I think that's impressive because if more people got there and did that, I believe that, you know, we would have one of these cultures in this country where people would take ownership over their assets, you know, because a lot of times we relegate our authority over like our money to somebody else because we say we just don't know. But if you had this kind of access to information, I feel like if more people did what you did, how better would people feel about investing their money somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Because who cares more about your money than you?
Right. Absolutely. And I think it comes from being humble, recognizing when you don't know things, and being okay with your ignorance, right? Because it's a powerful thing. Because then when you're confronted full on with your own ignorance, you're going to want to try to resolve your ignorance. And you ask questions. You know, one of the things in psychology, there's a term called social proof. And that's a term that suggests that, you know, when other people, when you don't have others around you kind of leading the way, it's a lot scarier thing. I was not part of a network of real estate professionals. And so I didn't have, like, social proof is the idea that, you know, if you're faced with a cliff and there's water, you don't know if you're going to crack your head on some rocks below. But if you see other people doing it first, that gives you a little bit of proof that it's safe to do.
Okay.
I didn't have that, right?
Sure.
And so that was a big part of my reluctance, I think, as well. Having met you, you know, I think that eroded a little bit of that social proof challenge.
Sure.
But again, not completely. So yeah, all I had left then was sort of trying to do this by my own wits.
Sure.
Wagering a bit of money that was substantial for sure. Would have hurt if I lost it, but wouldn't have wrecked me. And that's where I got my start.
There you go. And it sounds like you were able to, you know, get some social proof too in your due diligence process, just by,
That's right.
you know, talking to other investors, folks that we've worked with, experiencing, you know, kind of like, and just asking your normal questions that you wanted to get complete, right? I mean, that helped you to know that, hey, even if I do jump, there's a couple of people that jump before me.
That's right, yeah. And I think you owe one of your investors a big debt of gratitude for getting me on board, because she did not try to sell me.
Right.
And that was something I was sensitive to. It's like, was she just going to tell me her perspective and tell me the good and the bad? Because I wanted to hear the bad too.
Sure.
And the bad was, there was, you know, very little, but the bad was also followed by a story about how you made good on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When something went south.
Well, why don't we share that story, right? Because I feel like I know the story because I was there.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I can share that story really quickly. I mean, we took on an early investment in a property, and we did the work on the project, and really in the project, just things started popping up cost-wise. And then, you know, cost and more time. And even though we had it in the budget, it just, once we got it done, it was kind of going into the tail of COVID time. So things kind of slowed a little bit there as well. So we were just kind of in a rough spot. But I think, what we ended up doing on that one is we broke even. My investors didn't lose money, but we all didn't make any money. And I think if that's the same story that you're talking about.
That's actually not.
Oh, okay.
And isn't that interesting? That the way you resolve that, she wouldn't even count that as one of the sort of bad outcomes.
Okay, so what was the outcome?
And even I hate to call it a bad outcome. Let me just say unexpected outcome, because that's all it was a situation where I think she invested with you in a property. Then there was a permitting issue.
Yes.
That delayed the sale of that property.
Yes.
For quite a bit of time.
Yep.
And so you ended up having to restructure the deal. You pivoted to a rental situation.
Correct.
While the permitting kind of gets solved.
Right.
And so she was able to garner some income. And then once the sale closes, then she'll get
principal back.
She'll get that principal back.
Yep.
And so you made good, and that was important for me to hear that that you coped with when things went in an unexpected fashion. That you were still there being a stand-up guy.
Well, yeah, that's appreciated. But, so I think it's a perfect segue into kind of just how the overall thought process should be for an investor. Because I think you pointed on something that's really important, and I think it would help minimize a lot of the concern that people have. And I think we're going to get into a little bit of that here in the next segment.
Okay.
So, hey, why don't we just take a quick break? We're going to come back here with Saurabh, and we're going to let you guys know exactly what it is that you should look for when working with someone in real estate and how you can get started that way. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.